to show, full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, Gumpers.
Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with a Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. Now, there's something a little bit different on the screen. I'm wondering if you can guess what that might be this morning. I think it's a nice change. Hope you're well. Tudo bem? Como estás? Great to be here. Did I do the whole thing? Hola, bon dia, alegria. Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. It comes out of my mouth so habitually, regularly. I can't even remember if I said it. And maybe I've said it twice this morning. And if I did, you're very welcome. Double bubble this morning. Hope your Halloween was good. Any interesting things happened to you in the new country, getting to grips with trick-or-treating or people asking for bread and cakes last night? Probably that's more likely today after what we discovered yesterday. Thanks to Yvonne. Now in Portugal, All Saints Day, public holiday today, of course, being celebrated. And children may come and tell you that your house smells of rustic bread or wine whilst asking for bread or cakes today on All Saints Day. And we had a few lovely Portuguese Halloween memes. We missed out on one that must be included. I hope this isn't bad luck to do so. Look at that. For you math fans, mathematics, I should say. Normal distribution and paranormal distribution. Excellent. Thank you, T-Duck, for that. Superb. So I hope you had an interesting and good evening. And of course, that's the beginning. That's the precursor, the foreplay to a holiday weekend here in Portugal. We're heading into central Portugal this weekend and on a little bit of a road trip and looking forward to that. What are your plans? Do let us know in the chat if you will. And it'd be lovely to get any pictures or videos you have on 913-590-303. I have some lovely correspondence from Donna in Florida to share with you. She's on the late shift. Thank you, Donna. Sorry it took a while to get your lovely images and work onto the screen, but we'll do that today. We'll have a little bit of a consumer slot. I did advertise Savika, Anna Caramuja yesterday and Bobby O'Reilly, neither of whom can join us this morning. Of course, Anna Caramuja, Portuguese, having some holiday time with the family. And Bobby jet setting somewhere hither or thither, very busy at the moment and doing his thing. And we'll speak to Bobby real soon. All right, what's going on in the chat this morning? Oh, and of course, catching up this week in this first half hour with our themes of the week, the Portuguese point of interest. We'll pop to Alcabasa and have a look at the promo video of the council. We'll talk a little bit about the massa de Alcabasa, the apples. It's a shame, isn't it? It's not massa de Alcabasa, but they'll need to start a pasta range for that to work. Talk a little bit about the Renault 5. The new Renault 5 is very sexy indeed. It was my first car, the Renault 5, and in the color that they use on the promo. Mine was a flip top though, and not the exact one that's being used. Nice stick shift on the dashboard. And that property of the week, that's Susan and Leaf King's over in Alcabasa, the Moradia de For Moderna em Rebellios. That's over there near Alcabasa, between Alcabasa and San Martino de Porto. That's on the market. Let's see what we can do to help Susan and Leaf move that, because they need to move back to the United States. Lovely greetings coming in. So we'll do all of that before Chase Patel of Happy Hectares. Do you say Hectares or Hectares? Joins us. I wonder what alliterates with acres, although it is all about the hectares here. Happy Hectares. I can only think of angry acres, which is what Pete and Randy are sounding. Oh, you don't want to be reforesting Portugal. Yeah. And maybe I've got you wrong there. What are you two like? It was Waldorf and Statler when it comes to the trees in Portugal. That's why I had to put in the old Eric Idle prompt in there. Cheer up, you old buggers. I think that's from, I said to him, Eric, it'll never work. That's always look on the bright side of life, isn't it? Cheer up, you old buggers. Right. Okay. That's your Monty Python reference for the morning. We have one pretty much, don't we? Certainly every week, if not every day. Crispy pancakes. What? That's also in the chat this morning. Let's say a few hellos before we go to Alcabasa, shall we? But you're looking forward to chatting to Chase Patel of Happy Hectares and Not Angry Acres, talking about reforestation and how you can help with that, mainly in central Portugal. Monumental waste of time and money. Old Giffer of Central Portugal, Peter. Furious of Fundao. It's a waste of money. Right, so he's so British there. But I am taking that a bit out of context. In honor of the day's topic. Got it. What's going on here? Right. Let me. No, it's not. It's not actually. You've got it right. Very good, John, on the visuals there. You've. It was a it was a mistake I made earlier on that I had to put right, and I quite like how it is. I'm not sure you do. Coach Turner was in early doors, of course, 7:16, and that's the time that it's always been. Bom dia a todos, feliz sexta, dia de todos os santos, the day of all saints, of course. I'm sure there are a lot of festas going on around Portugal, so enjoy. Looking forward to hearing about reforesting. Come back to your God Squad tip of the day and a bit of fartlecking with you. This will be interesting, says Pete. We know of a few reforestation schemes that are absolute disasters in the district. Well, that's a great welcome for my guest. They planted trees that were not native. For example, holm and cork oaks that all died. Ooh, that doesn't sound especially successful, does it? Hence your comment, monumental waste of time and money. I shall put that to my guest. Be nice, though. It's Feel Good Friday. Bon dia, Gumpers. You've got to be nice to each other at the moment. Tensions are running high, are they not? Bon dia, Gumpers. Feliz sexta a todos. Como está? Tudo bem? He's got a new video out. I watched it this morning. As I was getting ready. Looks like this one could be right up my alley, as long as we're not reforesting with more eucalyptus. Oh, yeah, that's the idea. Chase Patel will be here to see how, if you want to sponsor the growing of several more eucalyptus trees and your own paper factory. Only kidding. Would love to hear why Portugal is not converting eucalyptus farms into hemp farms. That's your favorite, isn't it? Hemp, is that native? I wonder, how far do you have to go back to find out what's native? Pretty sure eucalyptus and those what are they called? What are the other ones? Acacias. They're not. Or they're very fruitful, fecund here, aren't they? But I don't think they are ancient trees of Portugal. We had a similar scheme, says Byrandi, that had similar results. The naysayers are busy this morning. Now the areas are overrun with that invasive pampas grass. Or is it a swinging centre? We know what or some of us know what pampas grass means, allegedly, or so I was told. Maybe that's what's going on there, Byrandy. And thank you for your event suggestions. I thought your Halloween events that you sent to me were for the weekend. They were for last night. Bayrada has been so busy. I did save one to share, even though it was last night, because, of course, it had the obligatory Zumba, which is, of course, is such a traditional trick-or-treat thing, isn't it? A bit of Zumba. They always end up being fire risks, says Pete, usually on such a small scale that they have no impact on eucalyptus, the scourge of central Portugal. Do you remember the permaculturists we had who built a somewhat indigenous and balanced forest in the middle of some serious forestation, not reforestation, of an industrial scale? Theirs was the only bit that didn't burn down, and that was near Sesimbra. I think we spoke to them a couple of years ago. The irony is that Castelo Branco doesn't need reforestation. It has plenty of native trees. That's interesting. I have well over 2,000 on my 19 hectares. I shall keep saying it both ways until somebody decides that. Supply and demand. I'm not sure if it's still the case that Portugal homes had to have bidets. That would cut down on toilet paper. It would. We're still talking about toilet paper. Is that what these millennia of civilization have meant to us? That we talk about toilet paper 2 days running? Entirely different context, of course. I have never understood toilet paper. Oh, says Pete, how did your olive... Well, that must have been messy then, if you've never understood it. Have you got the hang of it yet, Peter? How did your olive harvest go, or is it going? We have 200 litres thus far. Sounds great, Pete. Hoping for the same again in a fortnight. Marvellous. Yes, Byrandi, right back at you there. Well done, Pete, mate. That's some good going. We have cut right back on the farming side as we're trying to say. Yes, another quinta for sale there. If you want the details of Andy's quinta, did you know that his quinta's for sale in the Bairrada district, where you can go to a party pretty much every night, certainly every weekend. So, Andy, send me that link and I'll make sure people have got that. 2 streams running again. What's that? Oh, I think maybe you're watching that on GMP TV and Good Morning Portugal. I know that's confusing, and I will do something about that. But if you can watch the show twice, that means if you want to, in a kind of Marty Feldman stereoscopic vision style, if you want to, it's the same stream. So pick whichever you wish, whichever you prefer. And talking of YouTube channels, yeah, Old Guy episode 21. Well done, congratulations on making it to 21. Making a move in Portugal. Am I moving? Where? It's a moving business, is moving. Why would I leave Eddie Setter? Why? Now playing on a screen near you. That's an old guy in Europe. Talking of old buggers. Hey, I'm not referring to you there, Marcus. PT Country Bear. Bon dia alegria. Good morning to you and T-Duck. From bears to ducks. Bon dia alegria, Gumper Nation. Happy Saints Day. Thank you very much, T-Duck, for that greeting. And Jackie's in with us as well. Bon dia, Gumpers. How are you doing? Different green color. Yes, well spotted. That is the green. It matches the green in the top left-hand corner. That is the green of the Portuguese flag. Do you prefer it a bit brighter than that? I think maybe you do. I'll have to research that. I have to find out. I clicked a button. There are all these settings on StreamYard now. StreamYard's a great bit of software. And you get the chance to mess about. And buttons are not for playing with. I think I've been told that before. Buttons are not toys. And I, of course, pressed the button, which changed the green that we had before into blue, and I don't want blue, so I had to find a green and find the color code. You know, every color's got a code on the internet, hasn't it? That is the flag. Do you not like it? I mean, we can do all sorts of colors. You can even send me a color, and I can cut and paste that in, and you can have your color of the day if you like. But there's all there's all the oh no, that blue's oh no, I think I've messed it up again. Look, yellow, red. Wow. That's good, isn't it? When you've got that lovely big YouTube. I like that because by Randy comes out as a great big hog there. These are amazing. Not necessarily. I do like these with I've got a very big picture of your YouTube. That's good. I think we should stay with that. And that is perhaps a little too muted, is it not? And now I've got a color I don't want. So I'm not too happy about that, StreamYard. When I'm trying to show everybody what's going on. Quick. So could somebody send me a color, a hashtag color? And in the meantime, I think we're going to go with this massive. We're going to go with the biggest we can find where it shows you. Yeah, that's great. Although that's hiding. That's all right, isn't it? I mean, it's about the community. Doesn't matter if I'm being hidden and look like I'm doing a ventriloquist act there. So I'm going to leave that there for now. Suffice to say, it's not ideal. That is a right old visual mess. Please, somebody quick, send me a color and we'll put that right. Mario Santana is here as well this morning. João Ernesto de Norte. Bom dia, Portugal! And yes, double intro. Always welcome. Bon dia. Okay, so I did do it twice this morning. It's amazing. So used to doing it. It's like driving the car when you drive for 20 miles and you go, did I just drive that? That's how I opened the show this morning. Did I just say that? I can't remember saying it. Bon, everyone. From Mike and Karen. Happy Friday. And we had a lovely Halloween meal last night. And all of us there had at least a mile drive before the door. If we get a trick-or-treater agreed, we will reward them with 20 euros for their effort. They deserve it, don't they, after that? And yeah, like a cup of tea, I think, and some toast. I think I prefer the before version. Lighter green color on the banner. Yeah, this one is more foresty. And the other was more Portuguese flaggish. Wow, João Ernesto, you have an amazing color sense there. Bon dia from Pam. Good morning. Stick around and let us know as the unofficial mayoress of Alcabasa. I want your input when we play the Alcabasa film in just a moment. In honor of the day's topic, no, it was just a mistake as I've explained it. And that pink is very difficult on the eye, I think. We went to one of the parties last night that Carl was too jealous to share yesterday. I know, that was really why, wasn't it? Bitterness and resentment was what stopped me. Bon dia, Carl. The best in Alcabasa is the best quality and the best of all in the Fundão area. What's that? The best in Alcabasa is the best quality and the best of all in the Fundão area. Well, that's where we are heading this weekend, Pete. I'll let you know what our plans are this weekend. I don't think that big meetup's happening, is it? Understandably, but hopefully we'll get to see you, Pete, possibly in Fundão. Why is Renault 5 the car of the week? Have they relaunched it? Yes, they have, Pam. And if you look at that video, you'll see there's an orange Renault 5 there. Let's cover this now. That was my first car that I owned myself. I think it was 500 quid, something like that, 480, something like that, I seem to remember. Bought it from a man near Richmond Park, Pete. He was a car, there's some of these car dealers, they just trade from home. And he was, I think he's a wealthy fella living on the edge of Richmond Park there it is too big, isn't it, that, that comment? Hello? And I think we need a square screen as well. Hold on a minute. Let me just come back to that before I tell the story of my first car. That's better. We need all of that for sure. And I think we need to do something about the pink. So if somebody wants to send me an internet color code, you can choose the color. Maybe something not as bright and fluorescent as that this morning. Anyway, it was an orange Renault 5. It had a vinyl roof, not just a vinyl roof stuck on. It was a flip top. You could just ping something and the roof would flip back, which wasn't great at high speed, which eventually had holes in it. And I remember my mother sitting in the passenger seat with an umbrella up inside the car whilst the sunroof was up, driving down the North End Road in Fulham. It also had a very rusty floor, which I just put newspaper on, dry newspaper, and then covered it in hammerite, which is what we used to do back in the day. And then it didn't work when I bought it. So I had to take it to this guy thinking I was going back to Richmond. He said, no, my mechanic's in Brixton. So I drove it over to Brixton, got put right, and then I boiled it dry as I'm not that handy mechanically. And that was the first of my car abuse situations. And then I sold it on, I think, thereafter. I think it wasn't boiled dry to destruction, and moved it on until I moved on to my next car, which I think maybe have been an Austin 1300. Yes, I later had a Maxi, which I really liked some years later, actually, when they were well out of vogue, but found one in Shropshire, which I really liked. That only cost me 50 quid. By the way, bought it off a local old bloke. Now, well, that's what we're going to look at. So there you go. Yeah, the Renault 5 has been rejigged and remixed for the modern era, and they have the orange one that looks a lot like the car I had with its lovely dash-mounted gear stick as well. Now, we'd like to hear about your first cars, not this morning. When Colin comes back and we do our next Go Motoring Portugal, let's talk about your first cars. And if you've got photographs of them, even with you standing by them, that's going to be great. You had a Renault 5 as well. That's my dad had one. I used it to drive when I first passed my test, says Pam. Very easy to push. Was the best thing about it. Very good. A bit of lightweight French engineering that you could push if you needed to. Fantastic. Antonio F. Pontiatoros. You can see people's YouTube pictures. This is great. See them nice and big on the screen there, and I can hide behind them for a moment, which, of course, is the event we went to. Of course you went to the Zimba one. Did you put your Lycra on? I hope you did, by Andy. Morning, Big T. Hope you have an awesome weekend planned. I'm very nervous. My first Festa committee meeting tonight. Go on, Pete. You'll ace it. You've got this, mate. And to by Randy, good luck selling the Quinta. Yeah, give us the link for that. Our gaff for sale. Yes, and we've got the link, so you can take a look at that while you're tuned in this morning. Let me pop that, because you're not allowed to put links in, and you're not allowed to say bog roll either, by the way. So there's the Green Acres link for by Randy's gaff, as we call it, drum, his pad, his digs. The orange was very Halloween. Did I? Oh, yes. Okay. I can change it every day. And have we been sent a color yet? I don't know if you, it's Kilroy, isn't it? Not that one, this one. By Randy, he killed me saying Kilroy there. All right, we're going to stay with pink unless somebody sends me a color to change that to. Very eye-catching. Okay, before Chase gets here, and he will get here soon, we need to play the Alcabasa video, which will be very relaxing. Chad, was that the name of your, what does that mean? Is that the name of your Renault 5? And pink is the flip side of the muted green. Yes, but that's lost forever, I'm afraid. It is hashtag 046132 is a close green to the flag, but I don't think it was exactly the right one. Carl, I'm happy to come on and talk about the new Renault 5. Oh, okay. Let me send you the link for that. It'll have to be a quickie because we're going to reforestation in about 10. But let's get you on then, Colin, after we've had a quick look at Alcabasa and calmed down. The new Renault 5 would look fantastic photographed on the Alcabasa, on the Praça de Alcabasa. It's such a beautiful place, isn't it? We must take one of our test cars there and record some video, Colin. So see you after this video. And we will also share the link to Susan's place, Susan and Leif's place, the Casa dos Reis, the House of the Kings over there in Rebelos, which is also for sale. Let's see what we can do to help them with that. So a couple of property listings going in there. We've talked about the Renault 5. We'll talk about it more, and we'll talk a little bit about copper as well, because that's a great place to go if you want some of those massage de Alcabasa. But first, let's have a look at Alcabasa from the point of view of the promotional film made by the camera. There you go. Isn't that beautiful? Alcabasa is superb. And of course, it is my local council. That's who my rates are paid to. Oh, my water bill is paid to Alcabasa. San Martino is part of Alcabasa, which is quite odd, really. You might imagine it's part of the Caldas de Reña authority, but it is part of Alcabasa. And I think Alcabasa generally very proud of San Martino de Porto Bay. Go over to Celia, and that is, of course, part of Caldas. Aren't we lucky to live here, Pam? Have you anything more to add to that? Talking of things of beauty, and it was lovely to see the tombs of Pedro and Inés in there. It's a really great place to go. And it was, as I mentioned before, the first place that was recommended to me to visit here in Portugal by somebody who called it Alcabaca, who came here on a coach long ago. Now, talking of things of beauty, very quickly, of course, Colin is a thing of beauty. We'll bring him on. He looks like he's in a hostage video at the moment. We will pay the ransom, Colin. A couple more things of beauty. These are from Donna, who watches on the late shift. Shout out to all the late shift viewers. And Donna reached out to me from Florida and she sent these beautiful things that she makes, still cutting up tree limbs from Helena Milton when she sent these after the hurricanes over there. I have an art fair this weekend. I create repurposed vintage glass and china bird feeders. Hope to bring my repurposing message. We got repurposing and reforestation this morning. Hopes to bring the repurposing message to Portugal when we move over. And sent me a couple of pictures. There's a Royal Albert one. Rumor has it that Pete has a Royal Albert as well. And this is a couple of lovely pictures here. One of them, a Royal Albert / Miranda Kerr tea set, given a second life here in Florida. Here they are. I think these are absolutely beautiful. Can you imagine one of those hung in your garden? Beautiful old vintage tea sets, repurposed as bird feeders. That's really, really nice. Look at that one. I think that's especially beautiful, that one. I can imagine that hanging in a few Portuguese gardens. Thank you, Donna, for sending those over. Any other communications from the late shift who watched the show later on? Gratefully received. Let's give him a nice big round of applause. We can't play his whole jingle this morning. We're running out of time. Colin, good morning. Hola, bon dia.
Good morning.
You thing of beauty. How are you this morning?
Absolutely fine.
Excellent. You've been busy, haven't you? Live streaming with us on the Spot Reporter last couple of weekends. California Autofest and the Autodromo de Portimao last weekend. How exciting was that? Very popular on the channel.
It was extremely exciting, apart from the last 10 minutes of the 2-hour race for my brother, where his suspension broke and threw him into the barrier.
And that was on the track, was it?
Oh yeah.
Shocking. Okay, and he was all right. I mean, that was the main thing. He was. Oh, it just gave way on the straight.
Yeah, just after a corner. Yeah.
Yikes. Yeah. Okay. Well, and he's okay. He's fine, is he?
Oh well, his bank balance isn't, but he is.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Well, that's very sorry to hear that. I've got a lovely picture of the car when it was. I don't want to show it when it's broken. Let's show that beautiful car as photographed by Paul, by the way.
Yes, I did meet Paul on the Saturday.
Yeah, Paul captured this image here. But that's at the best of times, isn't it? Before the incident.
That's with his son Daniel driving.
Oh, okay, all right. You can tell, can you? Oh, because he's taller, isn't he? He's a big lad. Just wedged
he's
in.
6'6" with size 15 shoes.
Wow, they cover the accelerator and brakes very nicely. Is he going to repair it? It's not, hopefully not beyond repair.
Of course, yes. He'll be there. He'll be there next year as well.
Very good. Okay, so this Renault 5 then, our car of the week. He's going to be driving at 79.
Not driving, racing.
Racing, not just driving.
Competitively.
Is there an age limit, or do you have to have a medical, or what's the deal?
No. They have a medical every year, whether you're 20 or 80, you have to have a medical to get your driving racing license.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, this Renault 5 then, it sounds like you're a fan. I like it. I love the video of it being transformed and brought up to this new age of ours, brought into this new age. I had one. I was talking about it before. Pam did as well. Revolution is a French thing. Wow, careful what you wish for. R5, they're calling it, aren't they? Or R5 Revolution. Very cleverly done here. And that's what it looks like. It's a beauty, isn't it?
Yep. They've been very clever. They've been very clever with this car because over the last 2 years, they've been showing this car at various events and testing the feedback that they get as to whether they should build it or not.
That is clever, isn't it?
Yeah, everybody's fallen in love with it, and they all said, "Well, it probably won't look like that when it comes to market." And sure enough, it has.
And they've done it. So they've listened, and they've done something very beautiful, I would say.
The car is very retro. It's in length, it's almost the same length as the original, but it is 2 meters wide.
Okay, all right, that's interesting.
Which is probably half as wide again than the original, I should think.
Yes, I can really visualize my mother sat next to me with the umbrella up with that flip top lid, and so it'd be a lot more comfortable this time round.
The other interesting thing is it's purely an electric car. It's not going to be what we call an internal combustion engine car. It's purely electric.
All right. Okay. Looking very good.
It has a 54 kilowatt battery in it. It gives it about 220 miles. It's 0 to 62 is about 8 seconds, so it's not really a hot hatch, but they will bring out what they call the Alpine version, which will be reminiscent of their Formula One team, and it'll be in the Alpine blue.
Alpine,
I've lost Carl.
No, you haven't. I'm still here. I can hear you. Don't swear now, Colin, because you are definitely. Oh, he's gone now. He's going to be expleting, hopefully off air. Thank you, Joao Ernesto. By the way, we've got the pink was a bit difficult on the eye, wasn't it? We've got a distinctly green theme to the show this morning, so that's much better. Thank you very much for that. You're back. Thank you for not swearing.
No, I thought I'd lost you rather than you lose me.
No, I'm always here for you. Pam's still traumatized by driving Dad's Renault 5 and a later Renault Clio I had. I wouldn't buy another Renault. Well, should she reconsider? This looks like a fantastic car.
Well, cars in the 70s and 80s were nothing like they are today. I mean, how often do you see a car broken down on the side of the road, a modern car?
Not very often. I mean, when you do, it's remarkable, isn't it? And you go, "Oh, look at that! Didn't think that happened to a Mercedes or a BMW." Exactly. Yeah. Okay.
So there isn't a bad new car anymore.
Interesting thing to say.
Well, there isn't. You know, the all new cars are reliable in that sense compared with even 20 years ago.
Right. No, good point. Good point. So yeah, think again, maybe.
Yeah, the service intervals have become a year rather than, a certain mileage.
Yeah. Now, this is a car that's available in Portugal now. They've done their work. They've put it out on the stands at the shows. They've listened to people. They've made a great car, and you say people have fallen in love with it. 2 meters wide can be a problem, says Pete, on some of the roads here. And a top speed of 93 would possibly save the fines, but slow charging 30 minutes for 80% compared to 7 minutes for hours. So a little bit of a comparison going on with various electrics there, but it shouldn't be a problem for somebody who just wants to do a little bit of irregular motoring, right? It's not an everyday driving miles and miles car, is it?
Well, I wouldn't. You can go to from our Silver Coast, you can go to Lisbon and back.
Yeah.
Where do you want to go? I mean,
no, fair enough. But I mean, if you probably wouldn't buy this if you were on the road salesperson going around the whole country.
Oh,
right?
No. It's not even designed for that.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's a cute city car or commuter car in small. Most of us don't do huge mileages.
No, that's just a fair point. Fair point. Yes,
I mean, it's perfect for Portugal. I'm not sure buying an electric car is a good idea anyhow, because
don't start that.
Right. Well, no, I'm not sure it is, because as soon as you've bought one, there's something better out.
Isn't that the case with most things, though? In this,
well, it is with computers and things, and that's when you're talking about electrical things that that is the problem you've got. So anybody who can afford to lease a car would. I think that's the way to go with electric cars. Yes,
that's right. That is perhaps the future, isn't it? Well, we won't be thinking about having cars for years and years. We will lease, borrow, hire. Exactly. They won't be ours, and you'll be happy about it. Yes, I understand that. Exactly. Right, we've got our next guest is here and ready to go. We're going to be talking about reforesting Portugal. But before you go, Colin, I don't want to rush you off the screen. You've got a great suggestion. We have been talking about first cars this morning. That Renault 5 was my first car in orange. We would love to see people's first cars next time you're on, wouldn't we? And maybe a photograph of them with that young driver stood next to it.
Yes, and if anybody wants to come on and talk about that particular car, we'd be happy to discuss it with them.
Yeah, excellent. Okay, what was yours?
Maybe we would need the hour to do that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. We'll maybe get Heather talking about it as well, because she'll have had some amazing cars, I suspect. Yeah. What was yours? Some say Model T.
Well, it sounds a bit pompous, but what I did was, from the age of about 15, I had a thing called Ross's Car Wash, and I used to wash all my father's friends' cars and anybody's car I could get.
Right.
To wash, and I saved enough money to buy a frog-eyed Sprite.
A frog-eyed Sprite, which sounds like something David Attenborough would be talking about on one of his
Austin Healey frog-eyed Sprite.
How lovely! So bring a picture of that, won't you?
And the problem was, it was I was talking about 1968, and the car was a 1959, and it needed completely rebuilding.
Right.
The floor rotted and the engine and everything. I had to completely rebuild the car before I could drive it properly.
Newspaper and hammerite, perfect for that sort of
Yeah,
thing. Right, Colin, thank
exactly.
you so much. We look
Right.
forward to seeing you next time. Have a great weekend. I think you're having a rest this weekend, not a live stream.
Well, no, this afternoon our pickleball club have an in-house tournament, and it's going to be fancy dress.
On the go, fancy dress pickleball. They know
So
how to have
I'll try
fun
and
over
get
on that
I'll
side of
try
the
and
bay.
get you some videos.
Please do. Yes, indeed. How are you going? Is it? Would it be a spoiler to say how you're going dressed this afternoon? Any excuse to wear women's clothing, as I recall.
No, I'm just wearing one of Liz's blonde wigs.
Just you say. Okay,
Just.
excellent. Oh yeah,
I'm
because you
wearing
do.
clothes. I'm wearing clothes as well.
Good.
I'm not.
Oh,
I'm not doing a Brian.
okay. Doing a Brian. We'll explain that next time. All right. Oh, and Paul Williams is also wearing a blonde wig today. Fantastic. Thanks, Colin. Take care. Cheers. Bye for now. And let's keep that applause going, shall we? For Chase. Good morning, Chase.
Morning, Tony.
Sorry to keep you there. We got, you know what it's like, blokes, especially old geezers, start talking about cars. It was hard to stop there. So, how are you today? Tudo bem?
Doing great. Muito bom. Sim, e tu?
Excelente. Yeah, muito bem, obrigado. Looking forward to a nice holiday weekend here in Portugal. We've changed the colour to a suitable green for you, Chase, of Happy Hectare. Do you say hectares or hectares?
I think Hectares is what I say the most, but I'm sure either one's work.
I'm going to stay with that. You are the director of Happy Hectares. Love this idea. People have already been talking about it because it is a bit of a controversial subject, of course, as well, isn't it? Forestation, when it comes to the fires and the eucalyptus and so on here in Portugal, and how the corporates can tend to buy up big areas of land and local people don't have much of a say in that. Well, I'm sure we'll cover that. But before we go there, could you tell us a little bit about your backstory, how you got to be in Portugal in the first place?
Yeah, of course. My wife and I moved here almost 2 years this winter from Austin, Texas. I had a background in marketing events, and during the pandemic, everything stopped. You know, I was out of work, and then my wife was a nurse. And so we kind of had this big switch where she got overworked and I didn't have any work. And when things slowed down and calmed down, we just started looking around the world at somewhere more peaceful or somewhere more advantageous for us. And did a couple trips to Portugal and ended up connecting with a group out in the central region who we started our company with. And we just said, okay, we'll see you in a few months. We're moving here then.
Wow, so you've really cracked on then since being here. I mean, you'd expect something of a reforestation project to have taken quite some time to get off the ground or come out of the ground in this case. It sounds like you're very inspired, saw a need and got on with it.
Yeah, we were really lucky. The group that we met with here was headed by Marco Garcia, Portuguese native for 3 generations in the forestry. His great grandfather had a forestry business, and so he's seen all the changes throughout the years and kind of had this plan in place for years he's been working on. So we feel like we kind of just jumped in and are helping him more than anything.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit more about that person and that backstory, that history.
Yeah. Marco's a great guy. We met him on one of our trips, and he's my age, 30s, really passionate about forestry, agroforestry, traditional techniques, getting away from all the problems we see here. And so, his family just kind of showed him the way. And then over the years, he went to Idania Law School here in Portugal to focus on kind of the agricultural laws or the property laws. And he got what he needed from there and came back, and he's been pushing really hard. He's been done a lot of different projects and a lot of different lands that have had his touch.
That's what's needed, isn't it? Because I think a lot of people feel strongly about this subject, and a lot of people go ahead and plant their own trees, but this needs to be done on a huge scale. And I think some understanding of the law and the culture is absolutely essential with this, isn't it?
Yeah, I think we saw a lot of projects, smaller scale individual farms happening when we were coming here, and I think those are amazing. And we have that in our own right on our own personal properties, but the projects or the problem is just too big for just one project. And so we saw the need for a company, a full-fledged company. We have 8 employees already from 5 different nationalities. And so we're really trying to make this a big competitor to the major corporations that are using the forest lands in different ways.
Well, that's incredible. Okay, so Could you then? I mean, let's talk problem and solution here. First of all, could you articulate a little bit more what you see as the problem? The symptoms of it, I think, are not unknown, of course, to people in Portugal, and the fires are one part of that. How Portugal looks is another part of that. How do you see it? If you could sum up the problem, essentially.
It seems simple to me. It's just the monoculture problem. And I
Yeah.
think that's with anything in life. If you have just too much of one thing without a good mix and diversity, it doesn't really work usually. And so eucalypts can be a great tree used in special ways, but when you just have plantations and these kind of new age, just rows and rows of eucalypts, as far as the eye can see, it doesn't really benefit anyone. And so just working on mixing in all the right things. Native trees is a big selling point for our company. We don't focus on anything other than what's native here in Portugal. Those are the three you can see there that we kind of identified as the top ones for planting and regenerating the forest.
Yes. Yeah, amazing. And I suppose the benefit is a corporate one, isn't it? The reason we see these monocultural megalithic forests are I don't know if that's the right word, but huge forests of eucalyptus and pine is because they're commercially exploitable. And when you're growing them for industrial purposes, you grow them in straight lines, you grow them in a way that they can be quickly planted and harvested. There is a benefit for some shareholders somewhere, right, in doing that.
Yeah, of course. I think their profit margins are a lot higher. You know, I'm come from a business development background, and so I understand their point. And that's kind of what we're trying to do here, is find a solution or a more alternative to that. We're not trying to have people, lose money or end their, long-term investments that they had with these eucalypts. We just want them to start switching over to something else slowly that's better for the environment and better for everyone.
Yeah, they are not forests, they are farms. That's a good point. And we'll come back to your comments as well there, Pete, in just a moment. Yes, so why have you chosen these particular species then, apart from being, these are what you describe as indigenous, are more suited to the environment and more traditional here, right?
Yeah, definitely. The pork oak trees and the white oak trees have been in Portugal for hundreds, thousands of years. And then the madroños as well. They're a very, calm tree. They don't mess with anyone else. They provide a lot for the environment as well. And then the best part with those, I'm sure a lot of people are familiar, is the product that they make. And aguardente and then madroño as well are great spirits, coming raising in popularity. And so for us, that's the profit. That's where you can see as an investor or someone that wants to make money on land, not just give back. You can still have a full-fledged profit, I think, out of those madroño trees with an aguardente production.
Wow. Yeah, they are very pretty as well, aren't they? They are one of those great experiences of coming to Portugal and perhaps seeing that for the first time. Excuse me, Mark. Forgive me, I need a shot of aguardente, I think, to sort that out. Yeah, and it's a strawberry tree, isn't it? It's also known as the strawberry tree, and it's beautiful. And that fruit straight off the tree is fantastic. And as you say, has another use, which is very precious in the Portuguese culture. Pete says he sees a problem. You are planting cork oak next to existing eucalyptus, which has not been dug out. I'm sure that is not the case, and you've got a busy team working on it. There's no way you'd be planting just to have that undermined by the species in question that seems to predominate.
No, I mean, we're unfortunate with some eucalypts. We can't control all the lands, but there is this law in Portugal, to his point, that when you plant something next to the eucalypts and then you have the ownership of that land, the eucalypts has more pressure to be cut. And so we're kind of basically trying to get them to be pressured to remove it by showing the other alternative. And that's the best we can do. And then we're always just trying to buy the lot next to ours to continue it. And spreading the pork and oats instead.
That's the scale we're talking about then. So yes, of course, it's great to plant trees yourself in your garden or you're on your quinta. But for anything meaningful to happen, as I understand it then, Chase, this has got to be done on a huge scale with an entirely different agenda.
Yeah, it is. And the scale even for us is almost bigger than we imagined, just because with the three different facets we look at: fire prevention, tree planting, and then products, there's just a lot more work here in Portugal than we could ever imagine. We saw that just a few months ago with the problems up north. And
absolutely.
So we're hitting the ground running. Like I said, we're hiring an employee almost every month, someone that is either experienced in forestry or is ready to learn, getting out there in the field. And we have a lot of different partners as well. We're working with the comidas now as well for fire prevention. So
Oh, amazing. What a lovely opportunity for people as well to get involved in that and doing something really meaningful. So that's what these new employees are doing, are they? The new team members, they're getting out there and doing this. They're actually on the ground.
Oh yeah. We have a team of 3 streamers full time that are out there doing the fire prevention. Like I said, for the Comoras of the Drado Grande and Loricera area.
Yeah.
And then we have our forestry experts, our tree managers, whether they're growing. We have a nursery as well. You can see on that photo there. That's our own nursery that we're growing oaks and corks now. And then we also do pine seeds that we're selling to a lot of people in the north after these recent fires. They're trying to replant up there. So we're trying to help partner with them.
All right. And I want to ask how we can help here, and how anybody who understands what you're talking about and sees the need for it can help. Those are the goals for this year: 5,000 trees planted, management of 120 hectares, and clean 200. Because that's the important part. I think that's the point Pete was making. It's no point planting, is there, if you're not doing fire prevention as well? Because you're going to lose everything, and those trees need to be cared for, and that's why you need a team. I see people can buy a tree and plant it. How else can people help?
Right now, that's the main one. Coming up soon, though, we will have products for sale, and whether that's our olive oil that we're harvesting now, or different pine seeds, pine cones, we're kind of trying to come up with a few different products to start marketing.
All with a foresting theme.
The olive oil is, of course, all organic, straight from the branch to the bottle, and we're not doing any type of processing. It's cold pressed through the Lagares here in Portugal, and then those are all on our, either managed lands or privately owned lands through the company. And so with those olive trees, we're also trying to incorporate other techniques as well, with sheep and grazing, silvio pasture with the animals as well.
Do goats like the eucalyptus? Do they like to eat it? Because Pete's coming back to this problem of just cutting. You'll get 4 new ones if you just cut it. You have to dig them out. None of those cork oaks will grow if you cut them. That's an issue, is it? I mean, there's some intensive work to be done to stop the eucalyptus growing. And are you using goats and other what do they be, laterally thought solutions for that?
Yeah, goats and sheep as well. And then, to my knowledge, the growing back, if you go and stream every year, every 6 months, those seedlings, the ones that are growing up of eucalyptus, they will eventually die off.
Okay.
We don't do any type of digging out. I think that's a lot more intensive, and we're trying to find a lot more natural ways to let the system restart itself.
Yes. Yeah, fantastic. And the use of animals, that sounds really good and natural and traditional here in Portugal as well. Question, the old guy in Europe here loves hemp. Question for you: is hemp a possible substitute for eucalyptus? And if so, why, in your opinion, isn't it being talked about? And when I first heard about this, I was thinking, well, would hemp be an indigenous species? Would we have seen it? Probably we would, right? Because Portugal is an ocean-going nation, and the ocean-going nations like the England and UK and Portugal would have needed hemp for all sorts of things, rope and sails, all manner of things. Is that a possibility here?
Yeah, definitely. We're in the works of applying for that right now, the hemp licensing to be able to grow. And as soon as we can get all those pieces in place, I think that's a great alternative for multiple, lands uses. Instead of just eucalyptus replacement, it could be used for, all the agroforestry techniques we're looking at as well.
Amazing. Okay, so the mission then: reforest Portugal with agroforestry techniques. This is on a large scale, isn't it? Focused on reforestation and tree planting. Together we'll make a lasting impact, revitalizing ecosystems for generations to come. We are focusing on areas impacted by wildfires, starting in the Castelo Branco district. And basically, I guess you've seen the need to go, in a way, to compete with the corporate and industrial interest. That's the only way to do this, presumably, or maybe to work in conjunction with them. Are they interested in that?
We haven't had too many talks. We're starting to with the Comoras, and we're working our way up into those bigger companies. But for them, their only interest is the fire prevention. They're not trying to replant something new. But I believe we can get more and more examples, basically, and concepts out there that we can convince these people that there is a better way.
Yeah, keeping up that good work. It always struck me, Chase, when you see a kind of children's picture book version of England where I grew up, you see this sort of idyllic farm scene in a Ladybird book, and it's a bare hill with sheep on it, and you think, oh, that's lovely. You can almost hear some pastoral music in the background. This is traditional British countryside, and that's an industrial scene when you actually learn about it, isn't it? That's been grazed down and made suitable for growing things and you know, brought into the farmers' wishes and needs. The natural British scene, idyll, if you like, is a forest, isn't it? That's how it naturally is. Is that the same here in Portugal then? And if so, what would it look like? What would it have looked like a few centuries ago?
Well, Portugal's got a few different regions and climates, we know.
Right.
And so other than the Alentejo and Algarve, I think all the north, basically the regions we're focusing on, were just complete wild forest. You can go all the way up to the Serra da Estrela or Guedes area and kind of get a glimpse at that. Or even in Sintra, you can see those tree sizes there.
Yes, yeah.
And I just imagine that those tree sizes were across the whole country. And that's one of our points as well with the native trees, is they're not going to be something that needs to be removed ever.
Yes.
There are a lot of alternatives or new age types of trees coming out, but we want something to be here for 100 or 1,000 years even.
Yes.
And we want it to be able to be a full sustainable economy.
Yeah, amazing. Well, that's really important, isn't it? And regeneration, reforestation. This agenda is about multiple generations rather than just short-term profiteering. Not that there's anything wrong with buying and planting a tree today, you know, because that might seem a little bit short-term, but that's a good feeling, and that's what you would like people to do as the start of investing in future generations. What's that old saying? Best time to plant a tree is 100 years ago, right? But if you can't do, we can't do that, can we? The time
or today.
Or today, that's the best time to plant, and people can do that with you. If they go to happyhectares.pt, important to have the PT there. Plant a tree today. You can do that. You can go there and you can pick your tree and have it planted by the team. Is there anything else you need from our Gumper community here? That's an obvious thing to do, isn't it? Is to go ahead there, buy a tree, plant a tree. Presumably you can dedicate that to someone. Can people visit them if they want to? Can they see what's going on?
Yeah, we plan to have rural tourism by early next year with maybe a yurt or at least caravan spots, things like that. We partnered with Evasion, a French company that does caravan spots around Europe. And so we really, that's the last thing I would say is we need people, whether it's, you know, if someone just wants to talk to us about it, maybe share their knowledge if they have expertise in something we don't, or it's they have a piece of land that they're not sure what they want to do with, and then if they want to help with add it to our list, we can make it a project as well.
Very good. Well, that's what I'm asking, really. We've got some great people moving to Portugal with careers in corporations and great consultancy skills and so on. Is there anything in particular you need at the moment from that kind of mindset?
I don't know if we have any engineers in the house, forest engineers or, true arborists or anything like that. We always have discussions similar to what they brought up with the eucalypts and how to really remove it or how to get something else there that won't be affected negatively. And we love talking with any kind of science people with the agricultural scene as well, because there's something new, I feel like, every year that is coming out or new technologies.
Yeah, fantastic. I've got a person who I want to introduce you to, Portuguese woman who runs a restaurant in San Martino de Porto, a fantastic restaurant. I don't really want her going back into reforestation because the biocultural bar is fantastic. But I remember her saying to me, that's what she used to do before she became a mum and started running the restaurant. She was out working on in industrial scale reforestation, not working for the corporates and planting trees for toilet paper and printer paper. She was out there with an ecological and environmental mission. So I'll introduce you to Anna for sure. Chase, it's been great. What are you doing this weekend? Planting trees?
Yeah, we're working on more different techniques. I have a few American clients that we're trying to get to see the way over here as well. So we're trying to spread out the information every day.
Oh, I see. So, sorry, I've more questions occur to me every time I want to try and say goodbye and conclude the show this morning. But is that an opportunity then? If people are thinking, moving from the United States, for example, and a lot of people have this in mind, don't they? When I get there, I want to give back. I want to do something. I want to make myself useful. This is a pretty good application for that kind of spirit, isn't it?
Yeah. We actually have a couple of clients that are looking to retire in 5-10 years, and they want to either be able to have their own little thing or have something that's a passive income source. And so with the Madroño trees, we could go and plant the trees for them now, 1,000 trees. In 3 years, they would be making that money back every year on the land.
Ooh.
And then they would be able to move in and have that space as well ready for them. So we kind of do a little bit of development in terms of rural development, whether it's, we can have a construction crews that we work with to help remodel a home, but then we're also doing all the planning and planting of the different trees and the passive agricultural system.
Love that. Need to introduce you to Steve White and Paul Reese if you don't know them.
Oh, I know them well. Yeah, we worked together a few
Excellent.
times.
Okay, that's fantastic. Good to know. That what a lovely thing to know is going on in the
Yeah,
background.
it's a great crew there between those two guys and then the realtors and the other people they work with. I think it's Central Region's got a really good group of people together. It feels
Fabulous.
nice.
Fabulous. Lovely to see that vision coming together. Great to talk to you this morning, Chase. Thank you so much. Good luck with this great work.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
If you've ever got any news or an appeal of any kind, come back. You know, you've got a key to the studio now.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I'll have to do maybe a little pitch presentation one of these
Please
days.
do. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Come back and do that. We have sometimes more sort of businessy Dragon's Den kind of days. So come back and do that. And we'll see if we can get more support for you that way.
Sounds great.
All right, mate. Take care. Buon fine semana. E muito prazer. All right. Ciao, ciao. Ciao, ciao. There goes Chase. That's the website, happyhectares.pt. If you need to find out more, if you want to go and buy a tree and dedicate it to somebody this weekend. Yeah, that's an interesting point you make there, Pam. It is, of course, All Saints' Day. The cemeteries are looking beautiful. Today is Dia dos, if cemeteries can look beautiful, well, I guess which they can. Today is Dia dos de Todos os Santos, where traditionally people tend to the family graves. You may have noticed plants and candles for sale. The cemeteries look beautiful. How about if you planted a tree for somebody in that cemetery? Probably not in the cemetery. I'm sure that's not allowed, but you could plant a tree in somebody's memory, and you could do that at happyhectares.pt. Goats and sheep will eat the cork. I don't understand your business, Pete. You can give him more rigorous questioning when he returns again, which I hope he will do in the future. I think his intentions are very good there, Pete. And it'll be also interesting to see your approach there, Peter. If you want to send pictures of what you're doing on your land, you mentioned you've got a load of native trees going in there. Lovely to see some pictures of those, if you don't mind. And hardly a small scale solution. Land is becoming a lot more expensive due to solar installations. We have 84 hectares up the road being done now. Wow. Have had this on our website for many years. Plant a tree, commemorate your wedding or special day at Quinta dos Três Rios. Good morning to you, Hugh and Jane, by planting your very own olive tree on the property. You may select your tree from our friend Jose at Viveros Valta. Our guests enjoy watching their tree fruit and flourish over the years. Isn't that a beautiful thing? Maybe it's time for Johnny Appleseed to become Johnny Hempseed. I can see it now. Everyone's sprinkling hemp seeds across the countryside. Several olive trees have been planted thanks to that scheme from Hugh and Jane, who I think you can see on the screen there. Cork takes around 20 years to produce a profitable harvest, and no cork oaks are going to grow next to existing. All right, we get the point, Peter. Take a hike, sprinkle some seeds, have a tree named after you or a loved one. There you go. Thank you, T-Duck. We are coming up to 10 o'clock. We're going into the weekend. Wishing you a bon fin semana. Before I go, let me just share with you, because it's been a celebration of the Maçã de Alcabasa, the apple of Portugal. You go into any supermarket around Portugal and you're going to see this brand, which I think has been very successful. It's done a great job. Closely allied to it is copper. Now, I don't know if you've got these all over the country. We're very blessed here in the Silver Coast area to have these. These guys could work hand in hand with Chase, I think. Their intentions are well aligned here. This is a great shop. They grow the apples, the pears, and increasingly other produce as well that makes it into these fabulous shops of theirs. Look at that. Isn't that a great experience? It's like the Riverford of the UK, or I guess the closest you might find to Whole Foods, if that's what you're more familiar with over there in the United States. But check out Copper. I'm not sure if they do an online or delivery service yet, but I suspect if they don't, it will be an area of business they'll be looking at for distribution of their fine orchard fruits around Portugal, and cold pressed fruit juice as well. Great shop to go to if you don't already, and a nice alternative to the supermarkets who seem to have it all their own way. However, that being said, the Maçã de Alcabasa brand, as you see in Copper's shop here, that blue branding there does tend to make it into all the supermarkets as well. And I think you can go and look at the orchards and see the factory. You can have a tour as well. They are based here near Alcabasa, funnily enough. So there you go. That's completed the week. Alcabasa, our Portuguese point of interest, the humble Portuguese apple, our treat of the week. We're trying to sell the Ray's house for them. so they can get safely back to the United States. And I'll put that link to their property in the chat. If you know somebody who's looking for a lovely T4 near Alcabasa, this might well be it. Beautifully located between Alcabasa and San Martino de Porto. And the car of the week, the Renault 5. Very good of Colin to pop in and talk to us about that. That brings us up to 10 o'clock. Where is the Craft Beer Festival? Let's have a quick look at that. Before we go, we've got a few pickies to share with you of upcoming attractions. Here's one. That's the Bird and Annual Expo in Oliveira de Bairro. Wow, who knew? Bird fanciers, twitchers. They have lots of other animals to see as well. We've been there a few times. Great for kids as well. See there on the Gumper map for more details. There is a soup festival, of course there is, in Grada Anadia. That's on the 3rd of November, starting at 1 o'clock with some music as well, and bifanas to go alongside your sopa there. The Gigant HPC Naturals, a bodybuilding and fitness event in Aveiro. Oh, wow. Ripped right there, November the 1st. You can't miss this great WABA bodybuilding challenge. Athletic bodybuilding, classic bodybuilding, bodybuilding, modeling, bikini. Don't tell Colin. Wellness, shape and physique are the categories you don't want to miss. Wow, that's amazing. That's happening in Aveiro. And that, where's the beer festival gone? I've lost the beer festival. Hold on a minute. Oh, that was the Halloween and Zumba last night. We've got the beer festival. Don't worry. Before we go there, communal lunch and or ride out in and around. The Motards are out and about around Ferreiros Anadia there. That's on the 3rd as well. Find all of these, as I say, on the Gumper map. And finally, to answer your question, Mike, Festa da Cerveja, the craft beer festival in Póvoa de Furno in the Aveiro district there. Look at that fine gentleman holding up a frothy ale right there. Attention, Póvoa de Furno will be bubbling with our beer festival between the 1st and 3rd. So starting this very day and going on until Sunday. This promises to be another outstanding and fun event. I got a feeling Bairandi might be going there. We can't wait to welcome you and share a glass or two. Cheers, Saúde, chin chin. Lots of delicious food as well as craft beer and music that won't leave anyone standing still, they say. That looks like a great event, doesn't it? Thank you very much for being here. Oh, and yes, if you are feeling peckish after talk of soup festivals and so on, a couple of consumer things I wanted to share with you before we go. Uber are extending into the more rural areas of Portugal, just so you know, and there's one of their fine vehicles there. That lady's about to give a 5-star review, I suspect. Turismo in Portugal, thank you very much for that. The new Uber service in rural Portugal. If you need to, I don't know quite know how to put this, but there's a €4 discount on the colon cleaner as well. We go above and beyond here. Thank you very much. I don't know if you want me to say who it was in this community that sent me that. But look at that. Get a whiter and brighter colon possibly there in a professional way. Final price, $12.99. And new as well. I meant to mention this yesterday when we were talking about Padaria Portuguesa. This may be at the Craft Beer Festival over the weekend. This is Portuguese sushi. In case you wondered. And people often ask this, don't they, on the forums. Will I be able to get sushi? I love sushi. Will I be able to get sushi in Portugal? Of course you will, but you'll have to go to the Alentejo for the best that this country has to offer. And there's a really fine selection of Alentejo, Portuguese sushi right there. Have a superb weekend. Don't forget, as well as that election on Tuesday, and we'll be covering that throughout the night. On Tuesday, the Munson and the Geezer session will go right through to the Good Morning Portugal show next day, and there will be. So make sure you know what's happening here. Actually, not many people do know what's happening, but be aware that there might be drills and sirens on the 5th of November because it's Portugal's Earthquake Awareness Day, as well as the American election as well. Yeah, that's what we'll be doing on Don't Get Triggered. It's only an election. We'll be talking about that next Tuesday, all through the night. Me and the geese are really looking forward to that, keeping you up to date with what's going on as it unfolds, as the spectacle unfolds. Oh, Colon is Spanish. I would never send Carl a meme like that from my Costco flight. Oh yeah, and see you at midday for a moment of mellowness as well. Bon fin de semana a todos. Have a great weekend, says Mike. Maybe we'll run into you this weekend by Randy at that craft beer festival. Thank you. Give yourself a nice big round of applause. And a little bit of Gumper dust. Take care. Bye for now. And we'll see you on Monday. Cheers.
There's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. The little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP. Hey, Gumpers.